Welcome, everybody. Episode 85 of Christian Geeks Rockcast with Steve Chalk and Britt Mooney.
What's up, everybody?
We are here. It is the Christmas season here in the year of our Lord, 2025. As we record this, it's 3 days to Christmas. It probably will be less days than that.
When you actually hear it.
Yeah, it could even be after Christmas.
Could be. Or it could be, maybe I'll put it on Christmas, like Christmas, Merry Christmas. You can listen to the geeks.
You know what? It might work out well. I would imagine our numbers for that day for listenership would be pretty low, but that's okay, you know?
But then it'll be available the day after when they're traveling or...
True. We're playing the long game, but I'll leave that up to you because Britt does the editing and posting on for audio, and so I'm on his schedule. Like whatever he wants to do, man. I roll with it. I have all the social stuff ready to go, and I'm just like waiting to hit send. Sometimes it takes a while, but it gets out there eventually.
Well, and like I think was it last time I meant to schedule it and I accidentally pressed publish. And I went. Because we were talking, because you said something about wait a couple of days. I was like, oh yeah, okay. And in my mind, I was thinking I'm going to schedule it, but then I was like, I'm sorry, I hit publish. Sorry.
I know. It's like I remember because I don't usually do that. I think I texted you and said like,
no,
let's plan to send this like Tuesday morning. And you're like, okay,
and it was Friday or something.
Oops, send it. Like, dang it. I mean. Algorithms, just trying to work the algorithms, but who knows if it, I mean,
alligator.
That episode did well anyway. That was our
Luke Easter.
Yeah. Which was awesome.
What a great guy.
Yeah, no, Luke was great. And I appreciate him taking the time to come on and be with us, and still don't know anything much about Tourniquet or what's going on. I know Gary keeps posting stuff, and
yeah, he had a nice post. Was it today or yesterday?
Yeah, talking about Ted.
Yeah, he had a nice post. I appreciate it.
That was really cool. Yeah, and that's kind of what I thought is like, I mean, I think that Ted's passing sort of, helped them sort of realize that life's too short to hold grudges and that sort of thing. So,
And it wasn't all bad, right? I mean, there were obviously some years where they're getting started together and they were being creative together. And, you have those, moments and seasons. Well, and then it's kind of like a divorce, when it all falls apart, it's kind of hard to remember, or a lot of times you reframe those early years where it was all wonderful. It's like, oh, it wasn't all wonderful. I was like, no, maybe it was, I don't know. But anyway.
And sometimes, I mean, it's like, like we chose our wives on purpose specifically because we're very compatible with them, right? So it's like sometimes
you're compatible with your wife? Wait a minute. Was that what I was supposed to pick?
Becca, he doesn't mean it.
We're compatible in the right things in many things.
Oh yeah, well, my wife does not listen to this podcast much, and I get that, and I'm fine.
My wife doesn't listen either.
But at least your wife likes our posts sometimes.
Oh, she does. Well, she's just being nice and supportive.
Tell her I appreciate that. It makes me feel good.
She's like the only girl, the only woman who's like.
You know what? I would say that is the case. I mean, but
sometimes not.
We've had. And I'm blanking. I apologize. There's a couple of females that consistently like our stuff, and then we had an order. An order from a female. I don't know if it was like somebody begging their wife to get him a gift or something, but
yeah, maybe. Oh, you mean like they ordered like a product?
Christian Geeks merch.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Not that she was bossing us around. Not she was ordering us around.
I assume any comment we get from a female is bossing us around. No. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. No. Oh, but back to the whole Gary thing. That in the beginning, it was probably very great, very cool. And there was a lot of life in it, but you start throwing money in and egos and overtime and, the Beatles were different 5 years down the road than they were in the beginning. It's just the way it is. Yeah, a couple of dudes sleeping on somebody's floor, just making music for the fun of it. That's a whole different world than when you start like getting on MTV.
Yes.
See, kids, MTV is a network that played music videos 24 hours a day. It was really amazing.
It was amazing.
I assume that the people listening to this podcast already know that information. But anyway, but yeah, so but going back to the merch thing, yeah, we had a couple of really good orders, and hang on, I kind of thanked them in the little video I made a couple of days ago, but
you did.
But yeah, I mean, so we appreciate that. I mean, we don't promote the merch that much, but it does sort of help us know you care, and B, help us small amounts of financial. We don't get a lot of money off it, but Justin Dunlap, Cynthia Lytle.
Nice. Thank
you so much.
Thanks.
Because we gone a couple of months without an order. Because again, we're not like a merch podcast, but we kind of did it more for fun for the people who kind of like our stuff. And honestly, if you got an idea for something for merch, it's real easy to throw something up there. So if something you mentioned to us sort of strikes our fancy, we can throw something together. You can buy it. It'll be cool.
Well, and Steve makes it look really good too. So like basically he's saying that because I'm the one who's had the ideas to be like, hey, can you do that? And he's like, oh yeah, no problem. I want a mug with heavy metal tape cover, the side cover thing.
Done.
And he was like, I'm doing one and I'm doing an alternative one. Booyah.
Yep. Good stuff. So we sold a lot of those. Justin bought I don't know if he's giving away his gifts or something, but we appreciate that. He bought quite a few.
He's got one for every day of the week. He's got one for every morning.
Pretty much. Pretty much. But yeah, so anyway, merch, it's out there. Go to our website, geeksrockcast.com. There's a merch link there in our menu at the top. So yeah, it's there if you want it. If you don't want it, that's fine too. We don't care. But yeah, so it's been, I was on that little video I made, I was talking about kind of the routine we had. This year was more structured, I think, in our routine for releasing podcast episodes than we've been in the past. And I'm not going to go on and talk about how I wish we'd done more or whatever, but we were one per month. This is our 12th episode of the year. And I think we released one every calendar month. It wasn't always like the first week or whatever, but
yeah,
good kind of a good rhythm.
I agree.
If we get more than that, I would go ahead.
No, I was saying especially as busy as we've been, and especially for you having a son in high school band and a son in college band. I think we talked about it before it happened about how much are we going to do? And of course the answer is always, we'll do what we can. I mean, that's always the answer because like again, if we were getting paid for this, if this was some sort of money making thing, maybe we'd be like Gary and Ted and we'd, have a falling out but we're just doing it for the love of it, man. We're doing it for the love.
For the love of the game. No, it's yeah, I mean, I think one per month is a good rhythm, unless we get on a roll and we have a lot to talk about. Then maybe we do more. Who knows? Yeah. But I mean, we're actually approaching 5 years into this, which is crazy.
It's crazy. I was looking the other day at one of my other podcasts, and it's been like 7 or something. I was like, good Lord.
It's amazing. It's nuts. Well, the thing is, I think that not to pat ourselves on the back too much, but I'm going to do it anyway. I think back in the early 2020s, shall we say, when people were kind of stuck in their houses a lot, I think a lot of people made podcasts, started doing that sort of thing, especially middle-aged white dudes, started making podcasts. And I mean, most of them
They don't last. They don't last. I'm not going to go all into that. Although I will say, and I know I've said this several times, I would still like to do a skit or a commercial where It's some guy's 45th, 50th birthday, and what he gets for his birthday is a podcast. That's what he gets for his birthday. You get a podcast for your birthday. You know, oh, thanks. And I wanted to spend more time with my friends, you know, all that sort of so, because yes, a lot of it would happen around then. And some people have stuck with it, but it's, and I think you and I can both attest to this. It's not easy to be consistent. It's not easy to be consistent. And I think that because I had experience a little bit and I had a little bit of knowledge, we set it up in a way that A, we could be consistent, but B, we weren't going to run out of things to talk about. Like we still have tons of albums that we could do. And, and of course, you know, when you throw in interviews that are awesome when we get them, and we're not an interview show, but when we get them, I think they're great. You throw those kind of things in. It's just, we don't have a lack of things to talk about.
Yeah. No, and I was talking to a friend of mine who, this has been a couple of years ago, and he was asking me for advice on, you know, like, hey, I want to start a podcast. And I was like, well, what do you want your podcast to be about? And he was like, well, I've got like 5 or 6 ideas. And I'm like, well, that's great, but figure out the idea that doesn't give you like a finite amount of episodes. Like if you get into a podcast, it's like going, I've got 5 really good points I want to make. And it's like, well, I mean, you can make a short podcast that's 5 episodes only, but if you want something that continues to go on, it needs to be something that you yourself kind of understands that I've got enough content to go on forever if I wanted to.
Yeah.
So,
well, the balance is, generally speaking, for most people, if you're going to do a podcast, this is what I tell people, it's got to be specific enough that you have an audience, like 80s metal, rock, alternative music, Christian music, right? Like, okay, that's specific enough. Like there's an audience of people who listen to that and have fond memories of that, nostalgia, whatever. You got an audience for that, but you also, so there's a specific audience for what you're talking about, but you also have maybe not endless, but you've got a lot of stuff you could talk about. And so, yeah. So that's why when we did it, when we set it up, we still have, I haven't even looked at that list in a long time, but we made like a huge list. I don't know if there's still stuff that we haven't touched on there yet.
And there's things I think about that we didn't put on the list. I'm like, why didn't that get on the list?
I know.
But the other thing too, that's important, not that anybody asked us for our podcasting advice, but here we are. The topic, like find a topic that you can talk for an hour without notes.
Yes.
So that's where we are. Like I do this to keep from driving my wife crazy, my wife and kids, because they don't care anything. Sometimes I go off on a tangent. Like I'll hear a song on the radio. I'll hear like Christopher Cross come on. I go, you know who produced this album? Michael Omardian. And Michael and his wife Storm should be like, what? And I'm like, never mind.
Well, crazy. To me, there's the trade-off. Although I actually did teach or have taught, and now I do some subbing or whatever. But I have a background in education, so, but like if you're married to an educator, you're going to hear stories. You're going to hear things. So for me, it's a trade-off. It's like I'm going to listen to you complain about some knucklehead in your 5th period class. And you're going to listen to me talk about Queensryche or whatever I'm going to talk about. You know, like this is what I found out today. You know,
like it's
this
funny,
is my
like
thing.
The things I go like we'll listen to like the 80s on 8 or something, and like every third song that comes on, I will tell her the connection to Christian rock. I'll be like, okay, that guitar solo is Dan Huff. Dan Huff played with Whitehard, right? And anyway.
Well, Dan Huff is probably the answer to a lot of those.
Yeah, 100%. That's the low hanging fruit. All right, you want to do some news?
Let's do some news, man.
All right. In the news, I don't have a lot. and it's mostly because I've been busy and I haven't collected a lot, but I do have a few things. First of all, Immortal Fest is the 2026 Immortal Fest lineup has been announced, and it's pretty good stuff.
Yes, it is.
Just going to kind of run down. You got a couple of different versions of Petra. So you got the classic Petra, which I think is the Greg Voles, and then you got Petra with John Schlitt. Sacred Warrior, Fear Not, Arsenal. Haven't heard from them in a while. Les Carlson, of course. Philadelphia, which is like a old time classic hard rock Christian band. Daniel Band, David and the Giants, who just lost one of their members, one of the twins. Rex Carroll Band, and then Furious Love, who some of you probably know Furious Love, but that's the cover band. If you don't follow Furious Love, you need to follow them on Facebook because they post videos.
For sure, you do.
And the guitarist is Todd Stevens, who's XL, which we interviewed 2 or 3 years ago. But they are really good.
They're really good. Well, the old guitar player from Novella sits in with them sometimes, and then they got a great singer. It's a chick, so she can really belt out all that stuff. She can belt out all the old stuff. And she's great. And she sounds great. And I think is it the drummer who posts a lot, Dale Erickson or something? Anyway, they reached out to me about helping do some Immortal Fest promotion. So I actually messaged Dale and I went back and forth a couple of times. So we may connect with some Novella folks. Who knows? Got my fingers crossed on that. So anyway, so hopefully that'll work out. It's cool. No, the lineup's shaping up.
Yeah,
it's still in September, right? But they're not doing 2 this year. They're just doing the 1, right?
I think they're just doing 1, which I think is probably the right move.
Yeah, I agree.
September 11th through 13th. So, the 2, it was always people deciding which one to go to, and it's tough. All right, so Immortal Fest. Okay, the other thing, and I posted about this on social, but like I had 3 different record shipments come into me in 1 week. It was things I've ordered over the past like year and a half, and they all delivered in 1 week. And it was almost too much to really comprehend is not the right word, like to process and like listen to and kind of enjoy and sit with. But it was the new 77s called 7. It was the new Lost Dogs called A Trick of the Light. And then also there was a remaster of Scenic Routes, which was their first album that I got in there. And then also the Phil Keggy release of, I think it's Your Love Broke Through. Let me make sure that's what it is. Yeah, Your Love Broke Through, or Love Broke Through. But yeah, so that was a big week. And I can tell you straight up, all of those were really, really good. Like at least A to A plus material. Now Love Broke Through, that album's been out for 50 years because it's a 50th anniversary release. But that album sounds ridiculously good on vinyl. And I haven't even really dived into the demo stuff and all that other stuff they sent along with it. The Lost Dogs Trick of the Light, possibly my favorite, if not one of my favorites, if not my favorite Lost Dogs record. Scenic Routes is always a classic, but to me, it's a little more disjointed because I think that's the one they put out first. But I think that really those guys brought all of their influences in, so it goes like country and rockabilly and rock, and it's kind of all over the place. And then 77's new album is just really good 77's music. So
yeah.
So I had to convince Jill that I didn't order all those the week before, that I've ordered them over the last like 14 to 16 months.
Right.
It's like, don't check the bank account. It's fine. Trust me. It's good. So that's the other thing. And then lastly, this was an idea that I was bouncing around with Britt. And then we get a lot of requests for albums, to cover albums, and it's difficult to get to all of them. And then I give a thumbs up accidentally on screen. If you're watching YouTube, you probably saw that. But yes, we have a hard time kind of getting to everything. So my idea was, and I'm still fleshing this out a little bit. If you have any ideas, you can just reach out to us. Like I'm figuring out technologically how to do this. Britt has he has the setup with the Roadcaster, the mixing situation. So he plays the music and all that kind of stuff. But the idea that I'm having is to do kind of a one-on-one with a listener. So like but direct to YouTube. So it would be a YouTube special episode, where myself and someone else, or Britt and someone else, might just cover an album, run through it. And, because there's going to be a lot of albums that if I'm not as passionate about it and Britt's not passionate about it, I feel like the reviews we might give it might be a little lackluster, so to speak. But knowing that some of you guys are really passionate about albums, it might be good to get your input on it and tell us why you love it so much, or what effects it's had on you. So it kind of gives you a voice into the podcast as well. So it's just an idea we're tossing around. I want to figure out how to do it the right way. So, but yeah, so that's what I got.
Yeah, I got some ideas on that too. And you and I haven't I'm totally open to all that. That's what I told Steve. I'm like, I'm totally open to it. But yeah, I think there's some real possibilities to it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I like the idea for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, that's more or less letting you in on sort of conversations and thoughts we're having. So
yeah.
Anyway, appreciate that. But that's all the news I got. You got anything?
Well, it's not really news because I don't know that anybody cares, but maybe a couple of people.
I care.
Okay. Okay. So I have mentioned a few times on here about this sort of bug in my brain about maybe getting back into doing some music. All right. So we're getting closer. The drummer friend and I are getting closer. And and what we've decided is not to do an album. I think one of the things that makes me kind of step back and say I can't do this is the overwhelming idea and time commitment of doing like 8 songs, 10 songs, or whatever, like that just whole thing. And so what we've decided is we're just going to put out one song. We're just going to choose one song, do a good job with it, put it out there, and just not feel the pressure of doing an album. Nobody's clamoring for an album from me or him or whatever, but we've got resources and we've got some guitar players who are interested in helping us out. Cause I would probably play some rhythm guitar and I'd play the bass and do most of the vocals. And of course my friend he's an amazing drummer. So he would, we play really well together as a rhythm section. So he would do the drums, and we got some guitar players we can pull in who I think it would make it sound really good. So anyway, so we're kind of in the process of picking a song and then kind of trying to kick off some sort of plan in January. And basically it's like, we're just going to put it out when we can, just put out a song because I was telling him people our age, maybe, we might buy an album, but if we're just going to put it out there, most people are fine with a song. They're just fine with one song. You don't have to like impress people with doing a whole album. So yeah, that's where we are.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of the Calamity Kills model. I mean, that's the way Jamie Rowe and Jamie Perrineau have done their stuff. I mean, I think they've released an album now, but it's really just a collection of singles they put together.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like, oh, if people really respond well to the first one, and we feel like, oh, we'd like to put some more time and effort into this, see where it goes from there.
I know a podcast that will probably play some if you ask nicely.
We ask really nicely, I'm sure.
All right. Well, cool.
All right.
Well, so
we haven't even talked about what we're doing.
Oh, that's true. But if you look at the cover art or the post that we make, or
the thumbnail
or
or
the
whatever,
title, the thumbnail, yeah, you probably figured that out. Yeah, so we're going to be doing cover songs. I think specifically cover songs of Christian artists doing secular band cover songs. Now they may not be, necessarily quote unquote secular songs. They are,
yeah.
But
I think 2 of my 5 though are Christians covering other Christians.
Okay, well,
but
Britt broke the rules.
I did break the rules.
Rules are made to be broken. Now, mine are. I mean,
I know you did a great job.
Well, technically, one of mine is Christian doing another Christian song, but it's kind of convoluted. I'll get into that later.
Yeah. I can see
that. Actually, a couple of them could be that. Anyway, it's up for interpretation because honestly, only God knows the heart.
That's true.
We can't rely on record labels to tell us what's Christian and not Christian. I think that's what we've discovered.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely true. But this is an idea. I think I came up with the idea originally. Mm-hmm. But it's just an idea I've had because, as we go through some of these albums, there might be a cover song on there. And we've already talked about a couple of these. So there's going to be some familiar ones. If you've been listening to our podcast, there's going to be some familiar ones that we've already raved about. But yeah, I just thought that would be there's one.
Wow. Spoiler alert.
But no, so I just felt it would be a fun thing to do. We try to think of some special episodes every now and then to do, like the perfect songs, and we might do another perfect rock songs again.
Yeah.
Like a part 2. But anyway, so that's what we're doing today. And he picked 5 and I picked 5.
Yeah, and I have a lot of honorable mentions.
I got a couple, yeah.
Yeah, so and the other thing too to think about, and this is something that's I've been thinking about because we do YouTube versions of all these podcasts too. In case you didn't know, if you're only listening on Apple or Spotify or whatever, you can go on YouTube. You can watch us talk about them, which is really super exciting for everyone.
It should be.
But it's better when we have interviews.
Yes,
but definitely. I think it's great just looking at us talk because I think we're reasonably attractive for middle-aged men. We don't.
Yeah, we're easy on the eyes for sure.
We've got a face for radio. It's fine. But we're on YouTube. YouTube has a tendency, which they've been very kind to us. So because we don't really monetize our content because legitimately we don't get enough views for monetization. But the one time I know that they, I think it was the Easter songs, and they went in and said, you can't play Secret Ambition by Michael W. Smith. You can't have this in there. So we will either take that chunk of the video or the audio out of your video, or we can edit that part out and it'll just like skip over it. So since these are all songs that are probably owned by like bigger entities.
Oh, true.
You never know.
Yeah. Bigger publishing companies. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just a fair warning. There may be pieces of this missing. Not my fault. So with that caveat,
all right, you're first. What's your first one?
All right. So the first one I have is by one Resurrection Band, which is interesting because if you go on like Spotify, this is something Britt and I were having issues with. If you go on Spotify, if you're on the YouTubes right now, you'll see this is on the Innocent Blood album, which the band is called Rez.
It says Rez on the album. That's what got me.
Yeah. So if you search in Spotify for Rez in the song Bargain, it doesn't know what you're talking about because it's got to be Resurrection Band, which is not that name on this album. So,
but it has other albums under Rez, like on Apple Music. It has other albums under Rez Band.
Yeah. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
But anyway, this is a song originally done by The Who. The Who. And okay, I'm going to say this up front. So I'm not going to say because I think everything is subjective, right? As to what's better or worse or whatever. So I'm not going to say that these bands necessarily did things better than the original, because the song wouldn't exist if the original didn't come out, right? So,
Right.
So I'm not going to go down that road, but I'm just going to say, I think in some of these cases, I feel like the cover artist did a very good job. And this is one of those where I feel like Rez did a very good job with the song. So,
All right, let's do it.
Argon.
It really sounds like the Who too. They really, really sound like it.
Yeah, it's a little heavier, but but some of these are way far off the original stylistically, and some of them are pretty close. That one's pretty close, but in sort of the Rez style. Now, because I've always been curious about this, because it sounds very spiritual. So I was looking up, what did Pete Townsend, what was he thinking? And this was, I think that at least what the internet thinks is it's really, it's a spiritual song, but it's kind of meant more towards like a higher being. I think he was like a Buddhist, or whatever. And so it's not specifically about the God that we believe, but I think Rez kind of took it and crafted it into, this is about God, or because it's really more of, it was a little bit more vague, because it could honestly mean a spiritual, a higher being, God, a woman, a significant other.
Yeah.
It could mean a lot of things, but we know what Glenn Kaiser and the boys and girls meant.
Yeah. 99% sure. Yeah. They stuck to the original lyrics from what I could tell. And looking at, I don't know that I've ever really looked at the lyrics of that song from the Who. I don't even know if they ever even did that until this week when you put it on your list. And I was like, huh. Because I hadn't heard, I'm not a huge Rez fan, so that wasn't one I was familiar with. So I was like, man, yeah. But what a great cover for them to do. So for a lot of these covers, and we'll go over the few that are exceptions to the rule, but for a lot of these covers, the covers are in line with the Christian band style already. So when Rez Band is doing this, yes, they're a little heavier, a little gruffer, but they're pretty much right in the same wheelhouse as the Who. Very chordal, very, that sort of voice range is very similar. And so it's a great song for them to cover. And
it was, that's when we played on the radio, which was kind of crazy to kind of tune into our Christian radio station and hear a Who song rocking out on a Saturday afternoon. So it was kind of fun.
Well, and one of the reasons why I thought it would be interesting to kind of go through this, and I would be really interested, I'm sure people like Jim Richardson, and I'm sure there's some people out there who are going to have they're going to come up with a ton that we didn't think of. And I would love to hear those suggestions, because we kind of picked things that we like, but I'm sure that there's other ones out there. But I think it's interesting because especially when you get into like the late 70s, early 80s, there was some overlap in the secular industry, as much as they wanted to keep some of it separate. So I thought it was interesting when a band would play a secular quote unquote song and cover it and make it fit what they were doing. Or in a couple cases, which were my favorite, when they did it in a completely different style and made it work. Those are my favorites. But I still like it when people do pretty much a copy, not really copy, but pretty much play the song pretty close to the way it was. So my first one is one we already played this a few episodes ago when we did Vengeance Rising. This is Space Truckin'. I said it then. It's one of my favorite covers that Christian bands have done. I don't know why. I just think it's really fun. It's got a lot of energy. And I think the original musicians, although they were playing in thrash metal, the guys in Vengeance Rising, the musicians, I think a lot of them had a background in 70s rock. Because when you got into some of the later Die Happy stuff, you sort of saw some of that blues rock influence come out. So anyway, this is Space Truckin'. Originally by Deep Purple.
Space Truckin'.
Space Truckin'. Yeah, we don't need to belabor it. It's just because we talked about it, like I said, a few episodes ago. When we did Once Dead. When they did it on the album, and I was listening to the album the first time, in the 80s, whenever it was when this came out, I was like, what? It just seemed like it came out of left field. And for some reason, I still loved it. Even at the time, I was like, this is amazing. Like, I never would have thought they would pull out a cover from the 70s, hard rock stuff. But his voice, he made his voice work with it, I felt. And it was fun and it had energy. And I just think it was a great cover. And, we talked about it back when we did the album, but anyway, great cover.
Yeah, that was, the chorus of that song is proof that Roger could actually sing in a style where you could understand him.
Yes, I agree.
No, yeah, that's a fun song. All right, so for my second one, this is pretty much a classic. If you were into Petra back in the day, you are aware of the album Beat the System, which was their like electronical type album. Came out in 1984. I think, let me put my glasses on. Yeah, 1984. And so in 1984, they did a cover of God Gave Rock and Roll to You, which was original to the band Argent. And then Kiss did a version of it,
I think, Kiss
later on.
Yeah.
And
then Russ Taff. Russ Taff was original. Wasn't he original?
You're getting that mixed up.
Oh, sorry.
You're getting that. That was the something else. Right.
I'm surprised I Believe didn't make your list, by the way. I am so surprised I Believe didn't make your list.
I still believe. Yeah, it's on my honorable mention. So
okay, go ahead.
It's there. I didn't want to belabor the point because somehow we're still talking about it. It never ceases to. It just keeps coming up. But yeah, the lyrics from the original Argent lyrics are quite different.
Yes,
actually,
very much.
I mean, all the credit goes to the Argent songwriter, I guess Russ Ballard, who was, I guess, the main guy and or at least the main songwriter for Argent. Like he got all the credit. Like there's nobody in Petra that's credited with this song, which I guess is the right way to do it, but it's definitely very different. So anyway, yeah, God gave rock and roll to you.
Okay, so before I play it,
yeah,
didn't Bride do a version of this too with like a rap group or something?
Yeah, like maybe with PID or something.
Because I actually had the Bride version on my list originally as a possibility. See,
I would have had to call you out on that one because it's Petra all the way on that one. As much as I love the Bride version, like it's a Petra cover song. I know they did it, but I don't see it on
the internet, on the interwebs.
Yeah,
I would Google it. I can only imagine it's not on Apple Music. It can't be. It's so obscure. I mean, Bride's already obscure for Apple Music. I can't imagine they would have that song.
It's Bride and DOC.
DOC.
Disciples of Christ.
Booyah. All right.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're right. You can get the video on YouTube, by the way, if you're interested.
Yes. I remember the video, too. All right. Let's do it. Wait, here it is. There it is. Petra, man.
Yeah, it's like that's one where they were pretty much on target with the music, but they really Petra'd it.
Oh, they Petra'd that music.
Yeah, you may or may not love it, but it's like it's very 1984 Petra with the Simmons drums.
Oh,
like Louis Weaver on the Simmons.
And okay, so full disclosure, when I heard this the first time in the 80s, I was like, because I was like, I mean, I was listening to hair metal and heavy metal, and like this is the opposite of rock and roll. You know, this is the opposite of like I wanted way more distortion. And we've talked about this with Petra. What was amazing is then when I would see Petra live, like the guitars would be all turned up and they'd be all distorted. I'm like, why can't the albums be like this? I love that sound. Like that's awesome. Anyway, but so yes, it's very Petra'd out for in the production wise on the album.
And it's very like early, not even early. It's like that one mid 80s. It's this album. It really is the Petra of Beat the System.
Yeah.
Because I think they moved away from that predominant sound after this, and they before that they were more in the like Not of This World, Never Say Die, kind of that a little bit old school rock kind of vibe. Another bit of trivia for this song that kind of overlaps with some of our other stuff. If you buy the single, like the CD single for "God Gave Rock and Roll to You" by Kiss from the Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey soundtrack, you also get "Junior's Gone Wild" by King's X on there. So
beautiful,
because it's like a 3-song CD, and that was actually one of the few places you could find "Junior's Gone Wild" for a long time. I think they've released it now in other forms, but it's a really good song. But we aren't here to talk about "Junior's Gone Wild."
Yes.
So yeah,
all right. My second one is by a band that I would really at some point like to do on this podcast. Their second album. The first album is okay, but they really made a splash because they covered this song on the first album. This is really where Rachel made a splash. They had a video. Kerry Livgren played on it, and he was in the video, and they just rocked this out. And to be honest, I am surprised, although maybe I shouldn't be, but I'm a little surprised that more bands in the 80s didn't cover Kansas songs. Now, maybe there are some sort of copyright publishing issues, whatever. Maybe there was some issues, I don't know. But Rachel got to do one of the biggest Kansas songs, if not the biggest, most recognizable Kansas song, which is "Carry On Wayward Son," "Carry On My Wayward Son." And so, anyway, so this is it. This is off of Rachel's first album. I think their second album, just to put it out there for people, it's more like 80s rock, not quite progressive, but in the White Heart vein. The White Heart guys are really involved, at least in the second album. But I think the second album might be a perfect album. I'm just putting that out there. It's song by song, super strong. All right, but this is off the first album, "Carry On Wayward Son." Oh wait, let me start that again. Nope.
Wrong song.
That was Space Trucking again. I'm having all sorts of issues.
Did Rachel cover "Vengeance Rising"?
Yes. This was, talk about going away from their style.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Really good.
Yeah, man. It's really strong, and and this is one of those where they picked a song right in their wheelhouse. This really fit their style, what they were kind of going for. And yeah, they were able to honor, kind of celebrate Kerry Livgren a little bit. You know, AD wasn't really doing as much anymore at that point. And, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, and that was one that immediately came to my mind as well, because I remember the sort of the splash it made. It was, it's like, because if you watch the video, and I haven't watched the video in a couple of years. Like, I didn't watch it leading up to this. I listened to it on Spotify, but I still remember in the video, it's like when the guitar solo kicks in, Carrie like walks on set playing the guitar.
Yes,
like it's just like, whoa.
Yeah, I know. I freaked out.
Yeah, it was so cool. I mean, and the thing is, Kerry Livgren was pretty much a rock god at that point.
Yes.
Back in the '80s and even back in the '70s, but going into the '90s too. But yeah, I mean, legit. And I will admit that we don't often talk about female-led groups on this podcast that much. We probably should do more. But yeah, it's hard to deny how good that is.
Yeah, for sure. All right. What's your third one?
My third one, this is probably the one where it's the biggest change from the original to the remake. And this is an album we talked about some time back, but, so the song was originally done by Donna Summer. And no, it's not like CeCe Winans or Amy Grant or whatever. It's Donna Summer's song redone by the Altar Boys. And so they took a song, and I didn't realize this until today. I mean, because I maybe wasn't paying attention, but the Donna Summer song was originally done with Musical Youth. So it was like a very much it was a reggae. Jamaican, reggae Jamaican sound for the song Unconditional Love. And then, I think we talked about this with Mike Stand when we interviewed him on like 80 episodes ago, legitimately like 80 episodes ago. We talked to him about this, and it's just a great song. And it honestly works perfectly as a reggae song and as like a pop punk song. It just does. So,
yeah. So here's the secret of a great song. You can play it in any style and it works. A great song, fast, slow, you can speed it up, slow it down, put it in different keys, put it in different styles and genres. It'll still be a good song. And yes, and I don't know whether we talked about it with him, or whether just when we did the album, but I actually had this record because I actually really liked the song "She Works Hard for the Money" at the time. I thought that was a really cool song. And she and Donna Summer herself at the time, I don't know what it's like now, but at the time she had some sort of spiritual awakening. She had become a Christian, and when she had done some raunchier sort of disco stuff through the 70s. Mm-hmm. And so she really came out with a great album. And didn't Omardian do this one too? Didn't he do this album as well?
The Donna Summer?
Yeah.
Or
Donna Summer. I think he did the Donna Summer album.
And this song was co-written by Michael Omardian.
Yeah.
So I think a callback to earlier in the episode.
I think he even brought in a Christian record producer, helped write this song. But if you had listened to this song reggae form, it took someone with a very creative mind to go, we should punk this song out. And it totally works. And
it does.
Yeah. It would have been, if you hadn't picked it for yours, it would have been on mine. All right. Altar Boys, Unconditional Love.
It's a new kind
so good, man. It's just so good.
And that song comes off of Gut Level Music, which is a fantastic album. And the guitar on the cover there, Mike Stan still has that and still plays it, which is awesome. Of course, he mostly does rockabilly now, which, you know, I would love for him to do more Ultra Boy stuff, but I get it. But yeah, so Unconditional Love, that's my third song.
It's a great one. It's got great lyrics too. It's just a well put together song, like I said.
Oh yeah.
That's the strength of a great song.
And those two songs can't be compared. Like, as I talked early on, it's like, you know, one better than the other. It's like those are two so radically different songs.
Oh, no, for sure.
It's like they're both good. One's reggae, one's punk.
All right, so I picked another one that is a Christian covering a Christian artist, and this is DC Talk, who covered I Wish We'd All Been Ready. And I remember really liking their version when it came out. It was originally done by Larry Norman, I believe. And so, although when I was listening to it over this week, I remember really liking it when it came out. And I still really like the musical, but I'm just putting this out there, and I don't want to get all weird on people, but I may not be as much into the rapture idea that they're sort of espousing here. Although, the general idea of being ready is very scriptural. But I was listening to it and going, I was kind of in a different place than I was then. Not that, anyway, right. But just as you listen to it, if you haven't heard this version, again, it was originally a Larry Norman song, and the DC Talk did a cover of this around the Jesus Freak era, when they could all sing. So they didn't have to just rap all the time, or just have to have rap mixed in with everything. And yeah, so this is I Wish We'd All Been Ready. This is I think it's a live version.
Life was filled with guns and war, and all of us got trampled on the floor. I wish we'd all been ready. The children died, the days grew cold. A piece of bread could buy a bag of gold. I wish we'd all been ready. And there's no time to change your mind. The sun has come and you've been left behind. A man and wife asleep.
That's pretty much the song. And and listening to it over the past couple of days, man, were they talented. Mm-hmm. Man, were they a talented group of guys. I know there's been all sorts of stuff come out recently with Michael, and who knows where.
Really? I don't remember anything about that.
Who? And all sorts of, who knows where Kevin is with some of his stuff. But man, when you look back at their vocals and their harmonies and their energy and the vocal quality, and then the music and the musicianship that they had around them, they were as good as anything in music anywhere at the time. The songwriting was strong. The performances were great. The live shows were phenomenal. Everything about them was top notch, and not just quote unquote for a Christian band. It was just top notch. And anybody who listened to them, just even if they weren't Christians, they couldn't deny how talented these guys were. So it's just a reminder today. But it was kind of cool to me, especially in the whatever it was, late 80s or whenever this came out,
mid 90s,
that they kind of did a throwback to the 70s, did a kind of a throwback to a classic guy like Larry Norman. And yeah, I just thought it was cool.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of that now. And of course, Larry Norman's a bit of a controversial figure.
He is too. There's a lot of controversial figures in my pick now.
This particular song is a little controversial. I don't know how I feel about it. No, but yeah. I mean, that's how I kind of look at a lot. I mean, a lot of the artists that we cover, maybe not so much that we interview, but we will cover some artists that may or may not still be living 100% for the Lord, may or may not be, whatever. It's not, not our job to judge a lot of that stuff. But this is one of those things where you can't deny the impact that those three guys had on Christian culture, good or bad. Some people hate the word Christian culture. In the mid 90s, early 90s to
mid 90s, from Free at Last through that album through the next two albums, for sure.
Yeah, just great stuff altogether. And but yeah, that's a classic. And if you watch any of the videos on YouTube, this is I'm going to name drop here. My friend Will plays the drums on this video. He was the drummer for DC Talk from like Jesus Freak for like the next couple of albums, maybe.
Which means he's an amazing drummer. That's what that means.
Yeah, he's very good. He was the one that Miss Morgan was complaining about. If you listen to Jesus Freak, so but yeah, he's a good dude. He's a good dude. We grew up together in South Georgia, so we've known each other since we were little kids. But my next,
your fourth one,
my fourth one.
Yeah.
This is one where I think that stylistically, they're very similar. It's just clearly one. And I can't say, I cannot say that the covering band did it better than the original band, which is, I'm going to do Gimme Shelter, originally by Rolling Stones, which it's hard to beat that version. I mean, really it is. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Holy Soldier did a really good job on Last Train, putting it in their own style. This and I kind of look at Last Train versus, I think we've kind of talked about this a little bit when we did the Holy Soldier album. Yeah. Last Train is a lot cleaner. It's a lot more, I don't know. It's not as sort of like Sunset Strip, raw 80s glam rock. It's a little more like
it's a little bluesier. It's a little yeah. Last Train has a little different style to it. I dig it. I mean, I like both of them, but it's definitely
like, I feel like the drums are like more in the pocket. Everything's very very concise. It's a great album. It's one of my favorites.
The drums on Dead End Drive that's a clinic. That's a drum clinic, and it's not because he's doing anything incredibly difficult. It's just it's so in the pocket that those drums on Dead End Drive are like perfect. That's a perfect drum track. It's a perfect drum track.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
but yeah, Gimme Shelter is great.
Gimme Shelter is great. Yeah. And it was one of those. It was one of those again. Now, sometimes, to be fair, and I think this is the case with Holy Soldier on this album. Sometimes a band would pull in a cover because they didn't have enough material of their own. Now, that's not always true, but sometimes it was true because we talked about this. The Christian bands specifically would, just to make some money, they would have to put out an album every year, whatever the thing was. And I think with Holy Soldier, the singer Steven wasn't even around, and then he comes in for their album. So I think, but they got a gem out of this one. In my opinion, it's just they did it in their style while still doing kind of a throwback to the original, and it's just great. All right, here you go.
No.
Gimme Shelter.
Good stuff.
It's so good.
They got Jackie, I think her last name is pronounced Gooch, maybe. But she's the background vocalist on this, and she kills it.
Yeah, but you couldn't have done it without somebody like that, because that's part of what made the original Rolling Stones song so good. Mm-hmm. You had that gospel sort of singer in the background, but this one wasn't as gospelish, as bluesish, because their style just isn't that, but they still killed it.
But and it's like I looked up some of her credits. I mean, she sang with Michael Jackson and Roy Orbison and Aaron Neville and Billy Joel, and yeah, she's done a lot of stuff. So
a lot of stuff, man.
She's clearly got the pipes. So yeah, so that. I don't know. I love that. I love that song. I love that album. It is a great front album. To back. It's a great album. Yep.
Absolutely.
So, Gimme Shelter. That's my number 4.
All right. So for this one, I've got my favorite one, number 5. But for this one, I've got some honorable mentions, and I was really throwing some ideas around. I kind of ended up going with this one because I do like when a band does this, where they do one that's not in their normal style, where they pull out a cover and similar to what Vengeance Rising did with Space Truckin', where you're like, oh, these guys can play, and it's not in our time span, because there were some I wanted to do that weren't in the 80 to 95 range. Mm-hmm. And like one of them was when POD did Bullet the Blue Sky. Mm-hmm. Great cover. But I read an interview with them where they said, we had to really learn how to play the guitar to do that song right, because it wasn't their normal style. It wasn't their normal. And then they did it in their style, but, and Bullet the Blue Sky isn't technically that difficult to play. It's just a different style than they were used to, a different vibe, And so this is Mortal on, now I'm blanking on the album. It was a
Wake. It was on Wake.
And it seems like it comes out of nowhere. And since it isn't their normal style, the fact that they did it pretty much in like the original Beatles Nowhere Man, then it's pretty amazing to me. It was pretty amazing to me that they could pull it off. Number one. Number two, a lot of these songs, especially for a Christian band, like if you're a secular band and you just do a cover song, you can pretty much do whatever cover song you want. Nobody cares. But if you're a Christian band, people are really going to look at the lyrics of the song and go, can this work as a Christian song? And Nowhere Man, I think, does. And even though the Beatles were not Christians, But the sentiment of this song, I think, really fits at least an element of Christian theology. So anyway, not going to talk too much more about it before we play it, but this is Nowhere Man by Mortal.
He's a real nowhere man, sitting in his nowhere land, making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Doesn't have a point of view, knows not where he's going to. Isn't he a bit like you and me? Nowhere man, please listen. You don't know what you're missing. Nowhere man, the world is at your command.
Little George Harrison there. No, such was. Yeah, now on this album they did less industrial and they were more a band. And so even though when you saw them live they were a band and they rocked out, but they weren't really singers. Like when you listen to the other Mortal stuff, they had some singing vocals, but they had a lot of shouting, a lot of stuff like that, a little screaming and stuff like, more industrial sounding stuff. So the fact that they did this that was so odd to them, I just always liked it.
Well, the song that comes after this, it's funny because I have this album like memorized in my head. So like I'm hearing the next song. The next song is very industrial, but they couldn't get it completely away from it. But it's just interesting. This song is the definition of a palate cleanser in my mind,
right? From
that album, because the album is absolutely like really heavy, really borderline metal for the most part.
It's grungy metal. I was grungy, grungy metal in there.
I love Wake.
It's a great album. We've talked about we need to do that album.
Yeah, I really want to do that one because it's funny. The funny story, just a little anecdote, which I probably have brought up before on this podcast. But I remember I was at my college and career group at Mount Perrin Church of God, which is where I was going at the time. And I remember a dude who, when you're young, you're petty against people for no particular reason. I remember there was one guy in the group and I was kind of like, I just don't really like that guy much. And so we're sitting there and he was sitting in front of me in his chair and he had this album on the floor below and I had not seen it before. And I was like going, what kind of album is he bringing to? It's like some kind of Hindu something. I don't know what this is. And so then I finally figured out, I was like Mortal. I was like, oh yeah, maybe you're cool. I don't know. Then I was upset that I didn't even know that Mortal had a new album out. And then I bought it and loved it. So
such a great album.
It really is. It really is. But
all right.
I mean, that's on the list. That's a pretty spot on version of it, though.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's really
well,
good.
And here's the thing about some of these, and I think we'll be able to say it as a transition segue into your final one. I don't think you realize how good some of these bands were until they could pull off some of these really, really high difficulty sort of songs.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, they can play. They're not just banging around making noise. And when you can kind of pull off a different style, you've got some chops. I remember one time I was sitting, I remember one time sitting watching Austin City Limits with my dad, and it was Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I'm watching Stevie Ray Vaughan because I love Stevie Ray Vaughan and I love the blues and just aggressive, and he's just, tearing it up in the blues. But then Stevie Ray Vaughan does his palate cleanser of his live show, and he does this jazzy thing where he's just picking and just doing this jazzy thing. And my dad stopped. Like he was like in his own little world, just kind of there. And he looked and he goes, that guy can play. I'm like, I know, but like, you don't realize that just because they're playing in a certain style all the time, that doesn't mean they can't branch out. So anyway.
Yeah. No, it's good. It is good stuff. Well, my last one, my number 5, is Nobody's Fault But Mine by originally. Okay, this is where it gets a little sticky because it's it's a song. The song itself is by 77. I mean, about 70 by Led Zeppelin. So it's a Jimmy Page, Robert Plant song, musically. But they all, like the 77s, always give credit to Blind Willie Johnson, who was the original person who recorded it. And Led Zeppelin took it, changed a lot of the lyrics, and made it a more secular song, because the original song is really about reading the Bible and how if you don't read the Bible, you're going to go to hell, basically. So 77s took the Led Zeppelin arrangement and brought in the Blind Willie lyrics and meshed those together. So it's really like the original version done with the Led Zeppelin arrangement.
It's a cover of a cover in a way.
Yeah, it's a cover of a cover, but yeah, I don't know. It's confusing. But this is one of those where I'd say, like, legitimately, it's a cover of a Christian song, because Blind Willie Johnson's was very much of a Christian song, but it's a Led Zeppelin song. And I can tell this is one of those where, and maybe I'm biased because I'm a big 77s fan, I think the 77s version is on par, if not maybe even a little better than Led Zeppelin. I know the Zeppelin freaks are going to kill me for that, but
I'm not going to kill you. I would disagree, but I will say that I saw them do this, and I've talked about this when we did the 77s. I saw them do this live at Interseeds, and my mind was blown, because I was like, this is not an easy song to do well. It's just not. Like, people can play the song. The actual playing of the song probably isn't that difficult, but to do it well, and you couldn't do this song without, what's his name on the drums, without Aaron Smith. Yeah, you couldn't do this without him on the drums, because so much of this song is the Bonham rhythm. And those banging drums from John Bonham, but again, this is, like I said, this was segue from the Nowhere Man. It's like when Mortal does Nowhere Man, you're like, oh, they can play and sing. They can, like, they're actually really that good. And then the same thing with the 77s. You're like, oh man, I love the 77s. They're really good. I got this album. I put it in, or I saw them live, and I'm like, wait a minute. Like, they're pulling off Led Zeppelin, who were my heroes. I mean, that's how I learned. That's how I learned to play the guitar. Led Zeppelin is how I learned to play the guitar.
It's not studio trickery.
It's not studio trickery. They were doing this live, and I was like, that's pretty amazing. So, all right.
And the harmonica solo in there is just ridiculous.
Killer. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And so, yeah, I agree. It's just totally amazing. All right.
This one starts real slow.
It does a little bit. And Zeppelin would do that a lot, where they would take an old blues song and just mix it up and do their own thing with it.
Oh, yeah.
The devil told me to roll. The devil told me to roll, roll, roll. I let it roll into the light. Well, it's nobody's fault but mine.
I just want to play the whole thing. I just want to sit here and jam to the whole thing. Well, so there's a part later on toward the end where the drums are just doing these crazy off time things. That's what impressed me. Like live, the fact that he could pull that off and they could pull that off, it is not, it's kind of like there's it's kind of like it's similar in a way to like at the end of We Were Born to Be Loved by King's X, where there's all this like off time stuff. And it's like, if somebody could pull that off legitimately and sound good doing it, it's like, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. There you go. It's just amazing.
A lot of people forget. I mean, it's like Aaron Smith, who was the drummer during this era of the 77s. I mean, he was in the Temptations back in the day. Like he played on the recording of Papa Was a Rolling Stone. I mean, he was legit a very good soul rock drummer because he was in Romeo Void, and so he'd been doing a lot of stuff. And I mean, as much as I love Bruce Spencer, it's like it's hard to beat the Aaron Smith era of the 77s.
Man, so good. I mean, I put him up there with John Knox, in my opinion. He's right there with somebody who's like, he's going to be in the pocket. Him playing on, what was that song I love, Woody or whatever on Pray Naked. Oh, yeah. That's just his drums just his drums in general are perfect. But like when he wants to rock, he can rock. And yeah, so good.
Good stuff.
Great stuff. All right. My last one, I saved my best for last because this to me is a perfect cover song because it fits their style. It fits the theme of the band, but they do it. They completely not completely rework it, but they do it in such their own style. It sounds like it's their song. And that this is, and in my opinion, Petra fans might kill me for saying this. I absolutely feel that Galactic Cowboys did this song better than Petra did. This is Not of This World. And this was on, I don't know if you can find this on Spotify, but you cannot find this on Apple Music. You can find it on YouTube, but I have a copy. I have a copy in my music because I have a copy of this of my own because it is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, cover songs for all of those reasons. Galactic Cowboys did, and I think I saw an interview with them or read one where they said they just did this for the money. Like they were putting Never Say Dinosaur together where all these quote unquote Christian bands were doing covers of Petra songs in the early 90s, somewhere in there. And this is, I think, around Machine Fish time or right in between there when they didn't know what was happening. So they were just doing stuff for money at this point. And I'm like, this is genius. This is genius because who else but Galactic Cowboys should do Not of This World?
Exactly. It fits.
It fits them, and then it fits, but just the way but then they made it their own. So, all right, without further ado, here you go. and it's just got a really, metalish rocking out little middle section, and just it's a Galactic Cowboys song, but they just did a Petra song with it. So there you go.
There's a breakdown later in there where it just like, I don't know, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about, where like he's holding a note and then it just kind of belts into the guitar. I don't know. It's great. I can't go as far as to say I like it better than, because the Petra version, like
I really like the Petra version. Don't get me wrong.
And that was very meaningful to me back in my early Christian days. So it's like, it's hard for me to say it's better. To me, I feel like they're almost two different songs because I love them both.
Right. It's very similar to Unconditional Love. It's very similar to those two different versions where you're like, it's almost hard to compare. It just happens to be, I like punk a little better than reggae, although I really got into reggae there for a while in my life. It was, I mean, like if you're a musician, like, okay, I've got my style, I've got my genre that I like to jam in, but you know what I'm talking about when you say, oh, I spent 6 months learning how to play the bass lines for James Brown songs. I became a better bass player, even at my own stuff, it's just, you kind of branch out a little bit and you learn and you have fun. And anyway, that's mine. That, and so there was a couple that, even if I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, I had a couple that really deserved to be on the list, but, I had, the Easter Song by Keith Green, which is originally by second
chapter of Acts.
Yeah, second chapter of Acts. And I thought about, like I said, Bullet the Blue Sky with POD, but it was out of our range. Free Ride by Audio Adrenaline was just out of our range.
That's a really good one.
And one of them that I really wanted to put on here, I probably would have beat out Mortal if I could have found it on Apple Music, was People Got to Be Free by DeGarmo and Key off the Two Extremes album. But for some reason, Apple doesn't have it on the album. I could find it on YouTube, but anyway, those are some of my kind of honorable mentions.
Okay, I got a few myself. And I probably have some friends who are listening who will beat me about the head and shoulders when they hear some of these that didn't make the top 5. It was hard. It's like picking a favorite child, right? But so there's Adam Again, Ain't No Sunshine.
Yes.
Which is just incredible. It's just incredible. So that one is one where, again, I probably think tomorrow I probably should have added that, but we could have gone all night. I Still Believe by Russ Taff, of course. Greg Voll's Dream On, which is not as good as the Aerosmith version. Like I think for a while there I thought it was, but then I went back and listened to him and realized it's not quite as good, but it's good. It's a very honorable. I mean, they do a very good job. He does a very good job of it. Believer, Like a Song, the U2 song, which they do a great job with that song. And that's to me is a little bit like the Galactic Cowboys, Not of This World.
Yes. Yeah.
John Gibson, Yamo Be There, which may be a little out of our range, because that was really good. One Bad Pig, Man in Black.
Yes. You had that on your maybe list, and I was like, that's a good one.
So that's another one where I feel like that was real low hanging fruit. We both had Striper, Shining Star. Possibility. And then Mylon Lefebvre, Shower the People, the James Taylor song. So there's a lot there, and there's more we could have done, but and maybe we'll do another episode.
Well, and you said Russ Taff, I Still Believe, right? You said that, right?
Did.
I mean, it's kind of a cool cover of that saxophone guy from the Lost Boys. That was pretty interesting. The shirtless saxophone guy from the Lost Boys.
That's him. That's how they planned that cover out. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Right, well, that's it. We made it to an hour and a half. I thought maybe we'd keep it a little under an hour and a half, but I guess 10 songs. That's not bad.
No, and legitimately, this goes back to a conversation before we started this stuff. Like, I have almost no notes. Like,
I had no notes this time.
Everything I have is just like artist and title. Now, I did Google stuff a little bit while we were talking, because that's the beauty of sitting here with a computer in front of me. But yeah, I love it. I mean, we can talk for an hour and a half without notes.
I know.
But yeah, this has been fun. 2025.
2025. We just want to tell everybody Merry Christmas. Hopefully you had one, depending on when this episode comes out. And you have a great new year, and looking forward to 2026.
Yeah. I mean, we probably don't say it enough, but we really, really appreciate all you guys, especially you folks that are diehards that listen to everything we put out, watch all my stupid videos I put on social media. And yeah, I mean, we really appreciate it. We wouldn't be doing this stuff if it wasn't for you guys. As much as I say that we would keep doing it, even if nobody listened, if nobody was listening, I probably would not do it.
We'd probably forego all the hassle of recording it, and we'd still just get together and talk about it all on our own, like we did before.
Yeah. So, there's some truth to that, but yeah, we do appreciate it, and we have a good time doing it, and we'll keep doing it as long as you guys listen to it. So we're having fun.
Merry Christmas, guys. God bless.
Merry Christmas and peace out.